Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week. Walk with me. Come on, walk with me. I know you've encountered that at least once, if nothing more than in a movie. You've seen the very important, powerful person, and someone approaches them with a really important question, and just as they get engaged in their question, the leader, the person they want to talk to, says, "Walk with me," and turns their back to them and begins to leave the conversation. What do? Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I've noticed that some people address that moment completely differently. And by that I mean some, if they're trying to engage in that conversation, if they're the engagee, if you will, address the issue completely differently than other people do. Some get offended. Some feel like they've been slighted. Some feel like, well, if I'm not important enough for you to stand here and have a conversation with me, then I'll just go have my conversation with somebody else. And so they do. And they become gossip monsters, and they run around behind your back. If you're the leader who has to continue moving at a certain pace in order to get everything done, what you don't have time to do is kind of feel like you're dragging the family through the mall at Christmas, and every time you slow down to wait for them to catch up, you're just losing ground and losing momentum, and you can't keep the pace while you're waiting on everybody else to keep up. Now, here's something that I have learned about leaders. Generally speaking, effective leaders are effective people, and effective people are pace setters, and effective people are hard-charging, high achievers. They already have ideas in their mind of what needs to be done. They've got a pretty good task list rolling at all times, and they're bouncing, and they're moving, and they're changing their ideas, and they're changing their directions on the fly. And most of them have an expectation that their team is following them. You know, like when you're water skiing and you're behind the boat and the boat makes a dart to the left. Well, you might for a moment swing out to the right and cross the wake onto a little smooth glass kind of water, or you might dig in and ride the wake. Although it's a little more turbulent, you pick up a lot of speed gaining that inside track. And if you watch some of the really good ones, they'll go to that inside track, let the slack of the rope speed them up a little bit, and then that whip, that pop, yanks them right back into place. And there's a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement and a lot of power in following the boat that way. See, leaders are very aggressive in their tactics because they have to be. If you're standing still, you're going to get run over. The odds that you're not going to be able to succeed in the ways that you want to are very high if you move way too slow. And if you slow down long enough for everybody to catch up and keep up, you're going to have a problem in your leadership and in your organization. So here's the question I think that many of us need to ask when we approach that leader, to ask that question, and as we approach, they turn their back or their shoulder to us and they throw those 3 words out there, "Walk with me." Is that a blow-off, or is that a highly privileged invitation? Let that sink in for a second and ask yourself that question the next time the moment arises. When you approach that leader and you try to engage in that conversation and they throw you a shoulder and then say, "Walk with me," are they saying to you, let's keep going, I'm engaging in this conversation, but we need to do it on my pace, I still have other things to do? Or are they saying to you, I'm going on and I don't care if you come, you can walk with me, but I'm not going to take my time to have this meeting with you? See, there are those moments, and having been in the military, and I know there are those things that are need-to-know basis. There are certain conversations that a leader may have with someone in their organization where someone in the organization knows something that not everybody's supposed to know. And they might say, "Walk with me," and that other person say, "This is not for public consumption." And at that moment, they may step into a quiet alcove and have a conversation really quick, or table that conversation for later. If it's urgent, the leader will get that signal from their team and know to deal with it that way. here's what I find to be true 9 times out of 10. A leader who respects you enough to say, walk with me, is entirely different in their level of relationship and maturity with you and trust in you than is the leader who says, can we talk about this later? Because when they say, can we talk about this later, here's what they really mean. There are other things pressing in my mind and in my time, and that's not one of them. Not saying that you're not important, not saying even that your conversation or your topic or your question is not important, just that right now, it's more of the tyranny of the urgent than really dealing with something significantly important. I've got something else on my mind. Maybe it's getting on the stage. Maybe it's getting off the stage. Maybe it's finishing up this program or closing this deal or moving on to the next deal. Or maybe I just have a plane to catch and I really don't have time, actual time to have this conversation. But when you get that invitation, don't take advantage of it. Just take advantage of it. Here's what I mean by that. I know this lesson's going a little long. I think it's very important for the leaders, especially leaders who are coming up under another leader, a strong leader. When you get the invitation to walk with me, don't abuse the opportunity by following somebody around beyond the need of your question. They've given you a very powerful invitation to step alongside them, and whether it's walking to the coffee shop, walking to the next meeting, walking to the next room, walking to the door of their room or their office, or whatever it is, whether that walk is 50 steps or 5,000 steps, take that chance. Take advantage of the invitation without taking advantage of the person. Take that moment. Be as succinct and quiet and powerful as you can with your questions or your conversation. Get everything that you can out of it, and then respect their time to move on when you're done. Don't allow yourself to body block them from where they're trying to go or to pigeonhole them into another space. And understand that everyone else wants their time as well. So when they say walk with me, you may have to move at their pace, which is getting through the crowd as quickly as possible because they're going to get sidetracked and bamboozled all along the way. You're going to have to move with them at their pace if you want this opportunity. So the next time you, as a junior leader or as a leader, and there's someone you look up to, and you turn to them and say, hey, can I ask you a question? And they say, walk with me. Understand that is a highly privileged opportunity. And the chance to walk with me is a powerful thing when a leader says that to you. So take advantage of that without abusing it. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Leadership team. If attitude is going to have a deep impact on your business and bottom line, make it a positive attitude with a positive impact. Visit jlorennorris.com/attitude hack